The answer is with the stack size, it's not that bad with the texture of the flop. If the texture of the flop was different, um, you know, I think, it's hard to say it exactly at these limits, but I think you'd have to think, do I want to risk my stack with a pair of eights right here, with a pair of nines, with a pair of tens, and things like that? That's a lot of his range, more proportionally so than obviously aces, kings, or queens. Um, so, I think, and someone can probably correct me on this, that he's going to fold more than 1 and 4 here. Even though people don't like to really fold over pairs. But also, if he has ace king and he's just trying to re-steal here or something, which is possible, it's in his range. He's obviously going to fold that hand as well. And, ace queen, maybe he takes a stab there. I don't know. He probably checks through with that hand a decent amount of time. But, anyways, he calls. I happen to run into a big hand queen, so now we have to suck out, but we don't. So. It's kind of an interesting hand because, I mean, it's like I said, it's perfectly feasible to, uh, bet fold there, which I'd say majority of the time you should be doing. I just felt like with against that kind of player that I could get him to fold a bigger range than I would. If that guy was a little bit more on the loose side, I would actually just bet fold there. Um, Guys that I think are more kind of standard, almost, I don't want to say nitty, but close to nitty, taggish, I think won't necessarily be thinking, why would he be doing with this with aces or kings? And, would fold a hand like, you know, tens, maybe jacks even. It's hard. So anyways, queens. I'm steaming, but no one calls me. Darn it. Pocket fours is kind of a small cutoff raise here. I like just to call. Good flop for me. I check. He bet pretty quick, close to pot size on this board. Because obviously I just a couple hands ago check raised all and showed ace king and things like that. I'm hoping that I'm pretty positive if he has ace king, king queen and stuff like that, he's not going to be able to lay this hand down. It's very probable. I'm trying to play it like I have a big draw or something or like that. I know if he has some kind of piece, he's not folding or something. He didn't think too long before folding, so I really wasn't going to get probably any other much value. I mean, I could make an argument for just check raising, but the main reason I check push here is just because of that hand that just showed down and things that were going on. I don't think most opponents at these stakes, at least in my opinion, necessarily think, okay, he just showed this down, now he's going to switch to something else. I think they tend to just go with what they saw last, a majority of the time, at least especially with bad players in Fish. 9-8, perfectly standard open button raise. Okay, not sure what I folded there. $38 into $48. Check, raise, and call. And now two checks is really, really odd. And then a bet and fold. So no idea what he's check raising and folding to here. Duh. I don't know what to say other than that. um, 10 Jack. Now, I've been somewhat more in the past. So I showed obviously two hands in a row now, and I'm kind of trying to switch my gears a little bit here. I really like raising these kinds of hands in position. Here, this actually isn't that bad of a flop for me. I have an opponent who called me who's a little bit more on the tight side, out of position, and Forsky's who I don't expect just to be flatting me with any kind of big ace or anything like that. So I expect to be ahead of his range, but I'm not going to get any value if I bet this hand, so I'm planning on check calling, and also by checking if I get a bet from here, I can see what develops here first. So if I get a bet call, I can fold without any risk. Um, but if I get a bet I'm sorry, bet call, then I can fold without any risk. But if I get a bet fold, then I can call and lead the turn. That's my plan at least. So it gets checked through. So now I'm pretty darn confident I have the best hand. So I might bet, but I do get a call from this player. I really don't think he's checking two streets there with an ace or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure my jack is good, but I also don't think he's calling with the eight or something else. So I put him on a flush draw, and I'm obviously just going to show down this hand. Hope I have the best hand. He has a gut shot and calls. So this is interesting. Also, I think and you don't really know for sure, obviously, because you can't ask a person. But I assumed right after seeing that hand that he thought, "Oh, I want to get into a pot." But maybe also people I think overvalue a hand like Queen 10 or something out of position, but I think probably part of it was since he's been a little bit more on the tighter side is okay. Now I want to get into a pot against this guy because I just stacked off against him and he pushed all in with Ace King with a donkey. Um, don't know for sure, but I think this session ends here pretty soon. I've got like 5 or 6 more hands here. I don't think anything else really interesting develops, if I'm correct. 8-3, obviously gonna fold that. Jack 5, 7-6, Ace 10. Fold that to this guy's only gonna raise, even though we're four-handed now. Fine to call there, but actually I'd prefer just three betting. But I'm about ready to end this session, so I just kill this hand. And 8-3, and I believe that is it. Yeah. So, anyways, I hope you guys learned something. There's a couple interesting hands there, I think, and the main point at these kind of like smaller mid stakes kind of games, I guess it's like mid stakes, 2, 4, 6 max and stuff. You really want to focus on isolating and figuring out who the bad players are and how you can get into as many pots with them as possible. I mean, you should really be fighting the other regulars to isolate and get these guys in. And you don't really need to isolate in the term in the sense of just raising constantly with mediocre hands. It's perfectly fine to come behind them as long as you're literally on the button or something, and the people behind you aren't showing a big propensity to try and check raise. But there's lots of different strategies you can do to still try and keep the pots somewhat cheaper and take away the initiative from people who want to push the action when they believe they're sensing weakness before the flop. Um, maybe we'll go into that a little bit more. I think I'm gonna probably do a 3, 6, and 5, 10 video next. So those games start to progressively get a little more aggressive. So we'll talk about some of the strategies in there, how to do things. So you can really increase your win rate a lot more. So um, you know, all you really have to do is, catch 1 or 2 really good hands against a bad player, and that pretty much will make your session. So, anyways, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the site.